1 minute. Wait, guys, wait 1 minute. I need to tie my shoe. Let me. Okay. It's a bit difficult. Don't worry, guys. I'll defend the corner. Don't just. Charlie will be on. Just give me 1 minute. Just give me 1 minute. I'll bring Charlie on. Okay. So like this. Yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. Now we can start the show. Let me bring Charlie on.
This guy. Oh my god.
I tied my shoe.
The shoe and the background. Both. Like, oh my god. This is. Oh man, what an introduction, bro. I know I'm gonna get cooked today. I'll just hold my hands up now and just surrender. Wave. Do I have a white flag anywhere? Just wave the white flag. Where? I got a bit of paper. Wave the white flag. That's me for this show, basically.
All right. Actually, today is Halloween, so happy Halloween, everyone.
Happy Halloween.
We'll change it back because Charlie doesn't want.
No, I don't know Arsenal or Emirates on my thing. That's better. There we go.
We'll keep that.
You should feel the same about Sunderland. You should feel the same. So,
but at least Sunderland won't win the Carabao Cup.
Well, we don't know who's going. We don't know who will win the Carabao Cup right now. Maybe Newcastle will win it again.
At least we can go back to back in something. But yeah, welcome to this show. Yes, it did take me a while to tie my shoe, but you know, we got there in the end. But yeah, today we're going to be talking about. We'll briefly talk about Fulham and Everton games for both of us, and then the cup game between the two of us, and then maybe just quick prediction on the quarterfinal, and then Chelsea for Spurs, West Ham for Newcastle, and then also Champions League, Copenhagen and Athletic the end. So we'll see how long this show takes and how much trolling Charlie will get throughout this show. But yeah, Charlie, how you feel?
Not good. I mean, first of all, I know I'm in for a cooking this show because obviously the first Spurs-Newcastle game of this season, obviously since we started the Year of the Bird show, has ended in a Newcastle win. So, yeah, I'm the first one on the end of a cooking. But apart from that, not too bad. Doing quite well. Just yesterday got back from the trip to Newcastle. A long trip for 90 minutes that I'm never going to get back. So it is what it is. But yeah, look, it was good to go up north. But yeah, happy to be back on the show. Year of the Bird, of course, Newcastle Spurs show. If you haven't already, guys, subscribe to my channel. Subscribe to 10 as well if you haven't already. And this is being streamed on both channels. So yeah, like both. Get all your thoughts in the chat as well. And yeah, happy Halloween. Happy Halloween, of course, for those that celebrated. So yeah, 10. Happy to be on. Well, sort of happy because of the trolling at the start with the whole Spence incident, which we'll get into. But
incident.
Well, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, doing well, but not so well on certain things.
Yeah, especially with what happened with Palermo as well, which we'll talk about.
Don't even go there, man. It's our birthday on Saturday, so we better turn up. 125 years anniversary.
And on the same day, it's Chelsea Spurs.
Yep.
But yeah, I guess we'll get started. We'll kind of quickly, like maybe just for a couple minutes for our weekend games, because I would say it's quite expected somewhat. Well, we did predict Newcastle to be firm. My quick thoughts, I think we deserved the win. And we finally scored in the last minute of a game somewhat.
Rather than concede.
Yeah. So at least we got a win in the end. And I think now that's including the game from Wednesday, that's now our first time we went 3 in a row in terms of wins. So we're on track, just like Manchester United, to win 5 in a row at least. But yeah, my overall thoughts, I think Malik Chow was really good in this game. Valdemar, probably you could say his worst-ish game-ish, because he's not really had a bad game, Valdemar. And then man of the match, I guess, because he scored the winning goal, I say Bruno Guimaraes, and he barely played on Wednesday. So it kind of shows now, the one good thing about the Fulham game, and then we'll talk about the Spurs game between each of our teams. At least, like, we can now finally rotate and not have to rely on, you could say terrible players or whatever.
Paul Dummett, Sean Longstaff,
Yeah.
all the OGs. Get the band back
Uh,
together. All the OGs. Who else is there? Matt Ritchie. Yeah.
But yeah, so far, it was a good win.
Kieran Clark, all of them.
Oh God, the only savior from the Jolinton. But yeah, I think overall good performance from us. I just think that I was like, hopefully we get the second goal, and we got the second goal at the end of the game. And yeah, I'll probably say man of the match Bruno, and then we'll talk about the Spurs game as the next one. But I don't know if you have any quick thoughts on the Fulham game for us.
Yeah, I agree with you. From what I saw, I didn't see a lot of it, but from what I saw, you guys deserved the win. I said before the game that it was a must-win game, considering your very inconsistent start to the league so far this season. Obviously, still not where you want to be in the table. The win has taken you up to 12. However, you aren't far away. You're only 3 points from 7th, so you're not 4 points from 5th basically. So no, you're not far.
Is that Liverpool?
Yeah, Liverpool are 7th right now. But you're sadly you're still 5 points off Sunderland, which I'm sure you hate.
We'll get there. We'll catch up.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, look, it was a deserved win. I think Newcastle missed some chances that they should have scored beforehand. I think they should have probably won the game by more than just the one goal. Look, I knew that Newcastle would win this game. Fulham are in a very poor situation right now. They got a bunch of injuries. They're kind of, where are they in the table? They're 17th. They're 17th. So this has obviously been a really bad start to the season for Fulham. So it was definitely a winnable game for Newcastle, and they got the job done. And yeah, probably should have been more convincing than the scoreline suggested, but nevertheless, it was a deserved win in the end. So an important win and a must-win game in the league. Important that Newcastle got back to winning ways.
Yeah, and I'll probably say, I wouldn't say it's our best performance of the three. I think it's the one this past Wednesday. But before we talk about that, Everton Spurs, very quickly, I guess. Let you go first, Everton.
Yeah,
Spurs.
just quickly. I mean, obviously, I've spoken about it before on my channel. But yeah, look, the Everton game, obviously, set piece FC. Van der Ven's our biggest threat. It was one of those where I know they had a goal ruled out, which I'll explain why. It was the correct decision, but at the same time, why I felt that it was a bit harsh on Everton, because I see other teams do that, get away with it. Certain teams that I won't name. You probably know who I'm talking about, doing the same thing, getting away with it every week. But
is it the team with where is it with that?
Yep, that's correct. That's correct. But basically, yeah, it was a good win against Everton. Obviously, it was a win we needed, considering the poor run of form we were on coming into it. Obviously, off the back of a very poor performance against Monaco. So a good win. Obviously puts us into 3rd in the table, but and this is the case whether you're high or low in the table. Like, it's 9 games. Like, the table doesn't mean anything right now. It's still, I know we're almost in November, but it is still early in the season. But yeah, overall a good win, which I've already talked about on here. From open play, still could be a lot better. I still felt we struggled to create, but we did get 3 goals. And like I keep saying with Spurs at the moment, with our problems going forward, set pieces are arguably our best avenue at scoring right now, especially against teams like Everton that aren't going to give you much space. So that was the story of the game, essentially. I got a goal at the end, again, one that was on the transition, but a 3-0 win. The first team to win at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. So we like to be the first Spurs, first English team to win a European trophy, first ever team to win the UEFA Cup, of course, now known as the Europa. And now the first team to win at the Hill Dickinson Stadium. So yeah, we like to be first at things. So yeah, that's my thoughts. Well, anything you have to say on our game?
Yeah, I think it was a pretty, you could say, I wouldn't say a dominant performance, but a performance that you got the chances and the goals to come with it. I would say set pieces don't count, but at least even if that was the case, Newcastle still beat Spurs 1-0. But yeah, I think Everton, you could say, probably ruled out or didn't have a goal for them, which I think was kind of unfortunate for them. But I think overall, I think Spurs probably deserve the win.
I mean, we defended well. That's the thing. We against Monaco, I thought we defended poorly, but against Everton, I thought the defense played much better as well.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, and I guess now it's time to maybe to make some fried chicken, some really good food, at least for me. And big up to
here we go,
Angus.
Angus. See, I'm not. I wasn't even taking the mick out of it. I'm just stating that that's right now of our current situation. That's our best route of scoring. That's all I said. I didn't take the mick out of you. All I said was that set pieces weren't going to win you anything, which I was proven right because I said that last season, and I was proven right about that. So there, it is what it is. But big up to Angus though.
Yeah.
Obviously, once his team lose, he'll probably hide, but it is what it is. Yeah. We'll joke aside, big up.
Yeah.
Angus.
Well, I mean, if Charlie wants to hide, he can leave. But
listen, I'm not hiding. I'm here. I could be in hiding right now, but I'm here. So
yeah. But we'll talk about Newcastle against Spurs in the Carabao Cup round of 16, and in the end, the winner is Newcastle. For the game. So that means we continue our defense of the trophy. And don't worry, Angus, we will meet Arsenal in the final. That'll be the best final.
See, Angus, our play, yeah, we do. We might have a lot of crap players, but they're technically winners, unlike your manager and most of your players. So there you go.
And big up to Kate Miller.
Big up to Kate Miller.
Yeah, but the Newcastle game against Spurs, I don't know. I guess I'll start.
Yeah, you go first. I mean, you're the winning. You won, so I think you should go first.
I would say, to be honest, throughout the entire game, I think we were the better team. I know Spurs had a few chances, but obviously with the GOAT not being really the GOAT, with Charlison unable to put away like 2 chances in the first half, I believe. One that was like, I think it was Brenda Song and Johnson whipping it across the goal. But overall, I think our performance. Oh my God! Oh no!
Is this? Oh my God!
Oh no!
I just realized who this is. It's the Donna Cullen, because Donna Cullen's left Spurs, so now it's I don't even know.
But big up to PVFC Port Vale, bigger than Stoke.
Yeah.
Oh God. But yeah, overall, the first half. I mean, if you guys watch back at the start of the show, I was tying my shoe. I don't know if I did it quicker than Jed Spence. I'm not sure, but
this guy.
I don't know what your thoughts were, because obviously you were at the stadium when he was tying his shoe. I don't know if the Spurs fans were like, it's okay. But then you could maybe hear the Newcastle fans like, boo, or whatever, because he's taking like 10 years.
He shouldn't. Look, the reality is that I know our players were complaining about it to the ref and stuff, but the reality is that he should have been there to defend the corner. It's as simple as that. Like, tying your shoelace, like, look, Spencer's done well for us at times, but come on, you have to tie the shoelace when the time is right. And that was not the right time to tie your shoelace when you should be defending a corner, which most importantly against Newcastle are a very tall team. They're a team that have a lot of players that can be dangerous from corners and stuff. And you need everyone in the box. But the thing is, for that goal, I don't just blame Spence. I also blame Bergvall, because Bergvall, if you watch it back,
wasn't working.
Bergvall, no, it wasn't even just that. He pushes Danzo out the way. When Danzo was on Cher, I thought Danzo had Cher. Bergvall pushes him out the way, sort of being like, I'm going to mark Cher. And it just went horribly, because he pushes Danzo out the way, and then Bergvall can't even get to Cher in time. So I blame Bergvall for that goal. But just on the team selections as well, what were your thoughts? Because both teams made changes. I personally felt that Spurs made too many changes, in the sense that I know we have a lot of injuries. Chaz, if you do a preview, 100% Angus. Yeah, that will be at the time this next month, actually, November. But yeah, like I was saying with the team selections, I don't know what your thoughts on Newcastle's were. You made less changes than us. You did make some changes. Guimaraes, Joe Linton on the bench, obviously Ramsdale in goal, Cameradale, which is what I call him. But
well, actually, I think I'll be honest, the game.
I'm pissed because we gave him a
Not
clean
much.
sheet.
Yeah.
But my question is that with the starting lineup, we made too many changes. And my worry is that, yes, I know we've got injuries, which people don't seem to talk about, which because, when it was Ange, it was all injuries. But then now with Frank here, our fans are like, oh, Frank should be, injuries aren't an excuse. But then when Ange was here, they all said injuries were an excuse. So, the flip-flopping's real. But I personally felt, despite the injuries, we made too many changes. I think that, I know he has to rest players at some point, but, to take out Vicario, to take out Van der Ven, I know Romero was injured anyway, but that's a big part of our spine. Obviously Kinski cost us the second goal, but that's a big part of our team. And yeah, big up to one man Kuti every single time. Yeah, Richie up front can't happen. Brennan Johnson playing at all can't happen. It's as simple as that. I thought our best period of the game was the midfield. The midfield was probably the best part for us. But honestly, yeah, the lineup for me, we made way too many changes because look, the Carabao Cup. Look, we're not going to win the league. We're not going to win the Champions League. The Carabao Cup and the FA Cup were competitions where I said, look, if we get a bit lucky with the draw, if we can kind of get ourselves through, you never know. In the cup competitions, because it's knockout competitions, you never know. And the Carabao Cup was obviously a chance. And I'm gutted we're out. And I think that team selection was a problem. I mean, what did you think about that? Also for Newcastle as well, because I felt, you made some changes, but it was less so than us. It felt like anyway.
I think, what do you call this? For Spurs, when I saw the defense or the centre-back pairing be Danso and Paulinho, who I think Paulinho wasn't that bad.
He did all right, but again,
he's not a centre-back.
He's not. He's a midfielder. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and then obviously Kinski doing his best. I don't know if he was trying to punch Valdemado or the ball.
To all those Spurs fans were like, "Oh, Vicario shit. Oh, bring Kinski in." I'm not even saying Kinski. I know Kinski made a mistake, but I'm not saying Kinski's bad. But for everyone's calling for Vicario to be dropped, I hope you are realizing now, how important he is to our team.
Yeah. And then obviously, no Kudos as well. He was on the bench.
I just knew. It's just quickly. Sorry to cut you off again. Yeah. I just knew that as soon as Kudos wasn't starting, I knew we were screwed because that attack cannot score goals or look any threatening whatsoever without Kudos. Johnson, Richarlison, and Xavi/Bergval on the left. They kind of change throughout.
Yeah, and then for Newcastle, obviously, when we did our preview and probably like team combined 11, I was like, I had a bit of a feeling Ramsdale would start, and he did. And to be honest, he actually did well. Of all teams, he does well against Spurs.
So pissed. I just wanted us to score at least one goal, even if it was a consolation. So then this prick doesn't get a clean sheet.
With Saw.
Good save, to be fair.
Yeah. Maybe he should be a starter. Who knows? But and then we have the back line, which wasn't changed really. Obviously, Botman had his head injury, or it's not really an injury, but more like he had something done. Not a concussion, but something to do with his head. So we had Cher and Malik Chow. So one of the changes scored Fabian Cher, and then obviously we have Kraft and Byrne, and then midfield. Even though I said, oh, maybe I expect Tonali not to start, he did start and actually got the man of the match from the EFL. And then
what a player! I keep saying this. What a player! I'm glad he plays for my national team, but unfortunately, he was against me on Wednesday.
Yeah, and I think it said he was only on 80%, like sort of recovery from his illness. And then obviously have Ramsey and Miley, I believe. And then obviously up front, we still rested Gordon. We still rested Jacob Murphy, who started against Fulham, and put Harvey Barnes and Elanga, he was okay at some parts, but not like amazing. And then Barnes, he had a couple of chances. The link up that Valdemado had for one of the chances that Barnes took the shot and missed was pretty good. And obviously Valdemado, he got a goal in the game. So now this, like the Carabao Cup and the game at again or at home against Fulham, those were the, you could say, the best examples of um, the squad depth that we are now kind of building towards, and hopefully, hopefully no injuries or whatever. But it kind of shows that we do have a pretty competent squad, not just first 11, because that's been the problem maybe the past 2-3 years now. But now
your squad's improved 100%.
Yeah.
I think that was proven on Wednesday. You made a few changes and you still, fielded a decent team on paper, you could say.
Yeah. So that was pretty good, and obviously for us to progress into Cup was, I'm not surprised we progressed.
Well, listen, I'll be honest.
We're Carabao Cup merchants.
Carabao Cup merchants. I'll be honest, right? I knew we'd lose. I mean, I predicted it. I said we'd lose 1-0. Obviously, we lost 2-0.
I said 2-1.
The thing for me, though, the interesting thing about this game was that obviously, look, I'll be honest, look, Newcastle deserved the win. I'm not going to kind of say anything other than that. They were the better team on the day. I know people are talking about Joe Linton. Yes, he should have been booked for that, foul. I know he was booked, but I don't know why Kudus got a yellow. It's every time Joe Linton, every time he plays against us, he always is dirty. Like, I don't get it. But I'm not even that bothered about that the way a lot of fans are. My main concern is kind of a lot of our performance, which, well, I'm not saying it's good or anything. Was it our worst performance of the season? No. I think we've had worse performances. But the issue in this game was slightly different in the sense that, yes, we made some mistakes defensively. Obviously, Bergvall for the first goal and then Kinski for Voltemada's second, which, if I'm honest, that killed the game off. Newcastle probably should have got more on the break after that against us. But my biggest issue was, the attack once again. Even though, I have to say, we created a lot more chances than I thought we would have, if I'm honest. We actually did create more than I've seen us create in other games. But what's good in creating if you can't put them in the back of the net? And Richarlison had that really good chance in the first half. I think it was 2 chances, was it? He had 2 really good chances in the first half where he should have scored. And then in the second half, obviously Sarr forced a surprisingly good save out of Ramsdale. And big up to Volve today as well. Big up to you every single time. And it was a game of, look, Newcastle deserved it. They created the better chances than us. They, were stronger than us. They brushed our players were too weak at times, kind of competing with them. But listen, the issue in this game wasn't necessarily chance creation like it has been in a lot of games. The issue was putting them away. And the reality is, and I keep saying this until, FC25, you've changed your name. Big up to you.
Phase 2.
Phase 2, yeah. Phase 2, big up to you every single time. But yeah, my point is that we created more chances than we had in other games, but we couldn't put them in the net. And the reason we couldn't put them in the net is because we've got crap forwards like Richarlison and Johnson. Johnson more so. I know everyone's talking about Richarlison right now, which I agree with. Yes, he missed those chances and he's not good enough whatsoever. But Johnson is a bigger issue because Johnson doesn't even run. Richarlison at least tries. Yes, he's very bad, but at least he tries. Johnson's not even trying. The guy's just strolling, can't even. How many times did we spray it was either like Paulinia or I think it was Porro, sprayed a long pass, long diagonal, which was actually a good pass. Johnson should be in space. How many times does he lose it? Goes out of play. He is utterly, utterly crap. And I yesterday, look, I knew Johnson wasn't very good. But on Wednesday, for some reason it clicked. And it showed me that this guy has to go as soon as possible. He's living off that one goal in Bilbao, which, let's be honest, wasn't even his goal. It was an own goal, which I don't know why they even awarded it to him, if I'm honest. But he's living off that, a goal that he barely even scored. And ultimately this year, he can't even do what he was doing last year, which was scoring the odd tap in here or there. Right now, he's doing the same performance as last year, just without the goal. And for me, with him playing, it's like playing with 10 men. And you notice how many times was he wide open? Why? Because Newcastle and Eddie Howe, whoever it was smart about it and said, we don't need to put anyone on Johnson because he's not going to do anything. And because of that, you guys had more men on our other attackers, which obviously couldn't impact the game. But for me, yeah, was it a good performance? No. But, the issue was scoring chances. And that's why I think Frank got the team selection wrong. You cannot put Richarlison and Johnson in the same team. You can maybe get away with one of them for the odd game, but you cannot put them in the same team. Start you have to start one of Kudus or Kolo Muani. You have to. Yes, I know you have to rest them, but you can take one, start one in the first half, take them off at half time. 45 minutes each. It's just not good enough. And yes, we don't have the options, but at the moment, we're going to lose games with these players starting. And until this is addressed and until we have better players up front, this is going to keep happening. And, Spurs have always been a club that have had great strikers, great forwards. I'll be honest, at the club right now, if you take every forward, right, apart from Kudus, this is the worst set of forwards I've ever seen at Spurs. Genuinely, in the history of Spurs, this has to be the worst set of forwards. Because even when we've been bad in the past, we've had, good strikers. We've had good forwards, like even when we were, in the mud under like Nuno and stuff, Son, Kane, even when we were, in these situations. Yeah, exactly. Even if you go back further, like, when we, the 1 point from the first 8 games, we still had Berbatov. We still had all of these guys. So do you see what I mean? Like, it's not good enough, man. And was our performance bad? Yes. Was it the worst performance this season? No. But the reality is that I think Frank got the team selection wrong. But it's not his fault entirely because there's nothing he can do. And there's nothing any manager can do with some of the players up front. It's as simple as that. And for that reason, we're out the cup. And it's one of 2 realistic trophies gone this season. And that's the frustrating thing for me because we've gone out early in the cup. And Frank, needs to do better in these cup games because after, he didn't seem as, upset as he should have been about going out the cup. And that was annoying. If you listen to kind of his quotes after, it wasn't the best to hear because, it felt like he wasn't necessarily prioritizing this game as much as he should have. So that's my concern. Listen, Frank, I think fans saying Frank out is absolutely ridiculous, especially the ones that say Ange would do a better job right now. I think is crazy to think. But listen, Frank does need to prove himself. He does. He needs to prove that he can win these big matches. He needs to prove that he can progress us far in the cups. And listen, I think it's fair to judge him when he has better players up front to work with than Richarlison and Johnson. That's all. That's what I'll say. But I guess for you, sorry, I've kind of gone on there, but obviously, you guys won and everything. Good result for you guys. Listen, you defended well. We never looked like scoring towards the end, especially when it was 2-0, kind of last 10 minutes or so. But you must be happy you're through in the cup, playing Fulham, of course, in the quarters. What's your from Newcastle performance? What did you kind of think of the game?
Yeah, I think it was more like just showing off that we are the champions of this competition. Trying to keep it professional and all that. Obviously, I know the whole Joe Linton and Kudos thing, but that usually sometimes happens in football, you could say. But it's being able to see out the game against a very tough opponent, and actually because we beat Spurs in the Carabao Cup, I believe. Ever since Eddie Howe's come in, we've beaten all big six teams. We've beaten Chelsea before, Spurs now, Arsenal, Liverpool. Do Man United count? I'm not sure, and Manchester City. But so obviously, to see us progress in the cup is good. It was a pretty good performance from us, and yeah, I think hopefully, with you could say a somewhat favorable quarterfinal for us at least. We have to do another home and away, semifinal, which I guess we'll quickly just predict the quarterfinal. Newcastle I know it's in not even
December, yeah.
Newcastle Fulham.
You'll do it. I reckon.
I think it should be us.
It's another home draw. We were talking about this before. It's another home game.
Oh yeah,
you always get drawn at home in the cup.
Yeah, we always get drawn at home, and then we have Arsenal hosting Crystal Palace, which actually did happen last year in the quarterfinal, and obviously that helped Arsenal play Newcastle in the semifinal. I wonder what happened in that game, but prediction?
Look, Palace could do something. Obviously, Glasner won the FA Cup last season, but if I was to predict it, I'll probably say Arsenal edge it, if I'm honest, right now. But look, it's in December, so yeah, I totally agree. What's the point? Yeah, what's the point, FC? I totally agree.
Yeah. I'll go for an Arsenal win there. Next, another quarterfinal, probably also straightforward. You would assume Manchester City hosts Brentford, Man City, and then the last one, which I mean, again, to be honest, everyone's probably picking the big four that's remaining, and it's Cardiff against Chelsea.
Chelsea got blessed with this draw, man. They should have lost against Wolves, and then they get given Cardiff.
And they should have lost the previous round to Lincoln Park, Lincoln City.
Yeah, no, Chelsea win. Chelsea win. Sadly.
Yeah, so we're both saying the sort of big four will do that, but it'll be so funny if they do something, because it could have been Liverpool actually, but
bro, they got smacked by Palace, man.
Everyone is enjoying it. I guess we can move on to the weekend games. We'll start off with the Saturday. So
to be fair, just quickly as well, I just realized you didn't cook me as much as I thought. I'm all right. You didn't cook me as much.
Yeah, because you didn't really say, "Oh, we're going to beat Newcastle" and all that. You it was.
I said we'd lose, so
yeah. So I was like, what? Like the only cooking was probably just at the start with the shoe.
Just yeah, all I'll say is look, congrats. I just hope that since I've met you, you've beaten us every time. That's the funny thing.
Actually, it's now 4 in a row. 4-0, 2-1, 2-1, 2-0.
Yeah, since I've met you, you've beat. I need a win just so I can talk to you and be like, we beat you guys.
Well, at least you have 2 chances.
How the mighty have fallen. I mean, listen, if you want to talk about how the mighty have fallen, just look at your club.
I mean,
yeah, but what are we? We're on November. The league doesn't end now. So
yeah.
If they win the league, it is what it is. But obviously I'll hate it, but it is what it is. But right now, it's October.
Yeah. I mean, maybe Charlie would go to the moon if Chelsea were to destroy Spurs this Saturday.
Oh man.
How do you feel with that?
Oh, all right. Let's talk about Chelsea at home. Obviously tomorrow, 5:30. Here's the thing.
4-1 last year, or was that
4-3? 4-3.
Last season.
4-3.
Then
Here's the thing with Chelsea. I'm always so skeptical about this game. Yeah, look, I'm staying humble. I mean, you should stay humble as well. It is what it is. You can't wait to play us when you welcome a team that actually has a European trophy to the Emirates. It's the closest you'll get. So it is what it is. But yeah, Chelsea at home. Here's the thing with this. I'm always skeptical about this fixture. The reason I'm always skeptical about this fixture is for a few reasons. One, Chelsea, we have never lost more games to any other team than Chelsea in Premier League history. This is our worst fixture officially. If you talk about bogey team, see, look, what a surprise here, an Arsenal fan sucking off Chelsea. This is what I keep saying. Arsenal, Chelsea, they try and say there's a rivalry. There's no rivalry. All it is let's hold hands and sing "We Hate Tottenham" at the bloody Community Shield when you guys played each other.
With West Ham as well.
Yeah, it's just the hold hands. It's the hold hands and sing "We Hate Tottenham" derby. So it is what it is. Listen, Angus, you're saying we scammed the trophy. Anyone that wins the trophy deserves it. That's just a fact.
Didn't Arsenal got knocked out by Sporting Club?
Exactly. That's my point. Just Sporting, Olympiacos, Villarreal. The list goes on, mate. Galatasaray, 2000 with Bergkamp and Henry. Galatasaray beat you guys. Do you remember that, Angus? Galatasaray had never won anything in Europe, and they beat you guys in the Europa League final. So there you go. And that's when you guys had guys like Henry. So it is what it is. But like I was saying, Chelsea. Yeah, Angus, you hold hands and sing it. Arsenal, Chelsea, you hold hands and sing it. You guys shouldn't pretend you guys hate each other when you clearly don't. It is what it is. So yeah. But anyway, back to this game. I won't divert this time. I won't go on a tangent. If Angus, Angus with his fraudulence in the chat, but it is what it is. But Chelsea at home, I'm very skeptical for a few reasons. One, because of what I just said. If you want to talk about bogey team, Chelsea is officially our worst ever record against any team in Premier League history. We have lost more games to them than any other team. And I'm skeptical also because the last 2 years, especially, but in general, you can go back further as well. Every time we play Chelsea, the most chaotic mess always happens. We'll get a player sent off, usually wrongly. Usually the ref will wrongly send off one of our players, like Romero 2 seasons ago in that 4-1. We'll get a red card, which was never a red card, right? We'll get 2 or 3 injuries, like last year, Romero and Van der Ven, and the year before, Romero and Van der Ven.
Oh, wow.
We got, what was it? Remember the incident with, who is it? Like, there's just a way, there's many I can go on about. It is what it is. We constantly get screwed over against Chelsea. Plus, also, it's not even just that. I'm not even going to play the victim here a lot. But not only do we always get screwed over by Chelsea, the refs have a stinker, Chelsea, get away with a lot of shit against us. But the other thing is that we don't turn up against them. It's on us as well. We, clearly, whatever manager, whatever team we have a clear mental block against Chelsea. And we can say this however much we like, no matter how poor Chelsea are, because yes, Chelsea are not perfect right now. Chelsea have a lot of injuries, just like us. Chelsea have a lot of injuries. There's no Palmer, for example. Palmer's obviously a big miss for them, of course. But this is the problem, right? Forget Spurs for a minute. No matter how shit Chelsea are, they could be prime Chelsea in 2005, or they could be, Chelsea of,
12th place.
Yeah, 12th place. Even though we did beat them that year, and that's the last time we beat Chelsea. But the reality is no matter how shit they are or how good they are, they always seem to find a performance against us, no matter what. But at the same time, no matter how good we are or how shit we are, we always drop the stinker of the season against Chelsea, home or away, whichever way it is, every single time. So I'm seeing a lot of Tottenham fans feel like, look, this is a great opportunity to play Chelsea. Obviously Thomas Frank himself, luckily he has a very good record against Chelsea as Brentford manager. He's actually won more games at Stamford Bridge than we have in the Premier League era. So that tells you he's won 3 times at Stamford Bridge. That's more than we have in the Premier League. So
if only he had that with Eddie Howe.
Yeah, exactly. But this is what I'm saying. My hope, look, we haven't seen Frank as Tottenham manager against Chelsea, but Frank does seem to, at Brentford, I'm talking about Frank at Brentford, does seem to have their number for whatever reason. Frank did have Chelsea's number at Brentford. So my hope is that Frank can come into Tottenham and keep that going. However, he's never played Chelsea as Tottenham manager. And like I said, whatever manager we have, it's the same old bullshit story against Chelsea. And I've had enough because obviously I hate Chelsea. I cannot stand that club. And not only cannot stand them, they're a team that constantly, look, if I'm admitting it, they constantly get the better of us for one reason or another. Look, there's different reasons for that. The referees, us not turning up. There's multiple reasons for it, but that is what happens. So right now, we're in a situation where I think, especially with the home form, I mean, we're the best team away from home in the Premier League. No team has won.
Now Charlie's saying in the Premier League.
In the Premier League, yeah, exactly. in the Premier League, we have more away points than anybody else. But at home, we're 17th. We're 17th for home form. So I look at this game and say, yes, it's Chelsea. Yes, it's a derby. Yes, we have to always win these derbies as much as we can. But also, this is a big game against, another Big Six team at home. If you're going to put the home form right, if you're going to go out there and show that, look, this home form isn't going to carry on and that, we're better than what we've showed at home, then this is a game where I expect to see a performance. I expect us to go into this Chelsea game and, not just hopefully roll over like we have in many times. So I'm worried, man. I'm really worried. I'm really worried for a few reasons, but also if you take what do you mean by one win? I don't know what the context of that is, but my feeling is that I'm worried in a lot of ways because it's Chelsea and we have a lot of history against them, which isn't good history. But the other side of me, if you take that away, if you look at the opposition, forget their name's Chelsea for a minute. If you look at forget their name's Chelsea, forget our name's Tottenham, sort of thing. Look at the opposition. I do think we can get at them because Chelsea, like I said last week, if you forget our record against Chelsea, I'm actually more confident about playing Chelsea than I would be about, Everton, even though we beat Everton. I'm more confident about playing Chelsea, that style of football, than I would Everton. Because Chelsea, under Maresca, are going to come to our ground and probably attack us. They're an attacking side. They're not defending well at the moment. They've been conceding a lot of goals.
Isn't the last 3 games they had finished the game with 10
Last
men?
5 games, they've had a player sent off as well. Last 5 games.
Is it going to be a record on Saturday, maybe?
It might be.
We'll find out.
But the problem is whenever there's a red card in a Tottenham Chelsea game, it's usually us, and wrongly so. See, Angus, you're so cocky right now. But you should learn. You should be a bit more humble after what's happened the last few years. But at the end of the day, we have to win this game. After the Newcastle Carabao Cup game, going out the cup, we can't be losing to Chelsea as well, because fans, the way I see it with Tottenham, fans are already on Frank's back. And they're on his back because of the style of football, which pisses me off about our fans, is that our fans in their head, because yes, Tottenham historically play attacking football, very much on the front foot, which if it's winning games, fantastic. That's how everyone ideally would want to play. But the reality is the priority is results. And I think Frank is... See, no, you don't. You've won nothing for 5 years. You're at the top in October. October champions. Congratulations. It is what it is. Come back when you have one of these. It is what it is. Like this was a trophy that your club doesn't have. So it is what it is. But like I was saying, so Angus, all I'm going to say is, I think you're telling me to stay humble. I think you should be the one that stays humble right now.
Can't wait for
but basically, yeah. The style of play that we're coming up against in Chelsea, I'm actually thinking, do you know what? We can do something. We can get at this team in the sense that, they're going to leave spaces. We're going to be able to play more on the transition than we have in our last few games. And I think that could be an avenue for us to maybe win this game. But at the end of the day, it's Chelsea. So, yeah, fake medal. Yeah, your club doesn't even have a fake Europa League medal. So it is what it is. But like I said, I'm optimistic on one hand, in the sense that I do think there's a chance for us in this game to get a result because of the style of football we're coming up against and the way we've been defending overall in a few games this season. But at the same time, it is Chelsea, and the PTSD is a massive, massive problem in this. So, see, you're not even from North London. You're a South London franchise. Get out of it. This North London is red stuff. You're from Woolwich, Arsenal. You have the cannon on your chest. The cannon. Go to Woolwich in London. There's cannons everywhere. So it is what it is. But yeah, 10, I guess, from sort of a neutral in this, Tottenham Chelsea tomorrow. What's your thoughts for this? Before I give a prediction, of course.
Yeah. I mean, the most significant incident I remember is, I think 2 of them, at least in the most recent times. Cucurella. And what do you call this? And Nicholas Jackson.
The worst hat trick ever. The worst hat trick ever in history of football. The worst hat trick I've ever seen. Do me. Oh, man. That was...
Yeah. But I think in this game, it'll probably be like a very difficult game for, I'd say, both teams, because they know what's at stake. Both haven't really been performing well overall. I forgot who Chelsea played over the weekend, but they weren't really fantastic.
They lost to Sunderland. You know who they played. You know exactly who they played. Sunderland did them.
Oh, God. Actually, I saw a stat that day that it was the first time both Newcastle and Sunderland scored 90th minute winners on the same day. I saw a stat like that. It's a stat I didn't want to see, but at least in the end, it also meant that we won. But yeah, Chelsea not performing well. Spurs, you can say on and off at the moment. It depends on the team, the game, the injuries. But at the same time, it's the same thing with Chelsea. But yeah, I think obviously both teams. Actually forgot which. I mean, actually, I think after this game for Chelsea, they go all the way to, I think, Baku to play Karabakh. Yeah, they go all the way there for one of the early kickoff on Tuesday or Wednesday, whichever one. I think it's on Tuesday, but yeah, no, Wednesday actually, or whichever one. But yeah, I think both teams not really in the best form. Obviously, Chelsea still in at least the cup that I have.
Oh.
But for Spurs, that 30 minute in that first half after we scored against you, Spurs were okay against us. It's just that one of the goat, the pigeon, just couldn't take the bread. So I think maybe this game, I don't know if
He cannot. By the way,
I think
Richarlison and Johnson cannot start. They cannot start this game.
does Kolomowani start? I think
Yes.
that'll be the big question, because I think if
he does,
starts, then
I
I
think he
think
should.
there's a good chance, maybe not winning, but at least a better shot of winning than with the pigeon scoring, you
Of
could
course.
say. But yeah, I think if I, as a neutral, was to predict before Charlie was to say, I would probably say I think Kolomowani starts, and this might be probably the game, his first like actual genuine Tottenham game, you can say, where he shines. I'm going 2-1 Tottenham.
You think
2-1
we're gonna?
Spurs.
You're saying we're gonna win?
Yeah, and then you'll see what I say about Copenhagen later.
Oh.
So 2-1.
2-1 Spurs, you reckon?
And
Is this
maybe
because you look at?
Colomani.
I mean, Chelsea, no Palmer, obviously,
yeah.
a few, no centre backs, basically. They're
Yeah.
gonna have
But
Chalobah and what's the other guy called? His name begins with A.
Andreas
Achapong or something.
Oh, Achapong or something. Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah. And Sanchez in goal. That's someone we have to get up. We have to get at Sanchez. Sanchez is rubbish. Like, oh my gosh. Donna Collins back. Oh my god. But this is what I'm saying, right? We have to be shooting. I want to see us shooting more from range, because Sanchez is in goal. He's a goalkeeper that makes a lot of mistakes. And I think that, man. See the Arsenal Chelsea holding hands. What a surprise. What a surprise. But
when do they play? Oh, well.
But yeah, we have to go for that. We have to play on the front foot in this game, and hopefully we can be more clinical in this game. And I think Kudus coming back in, Kolomowani coming back in. Our front line looks better. Van der Ven, Romero's the news as well is Romero's back. Romero's back for this game against Chelsea. So is the doggy as well. So we're gonna have some better players in. We'll hopefully have a stronger squad going into this game. But you reckon we'll win?
I think the only question I might have is, how would you deal with someone like Estevão?
Yeah. I'm worried about them from wide areas.
He's really good.
That's the thing I would say, right, with Chelsea.
Actually, I realized this is technically the Xavi Simons derby.
Oh, yeah. Xavi, look, I actually didn't think he was that bad against Newcastle. I think that was I'm not saying he was good or anything, but it was definitely one of his better performances so far since he's come in. Obviously, I think he's still adapting to the English game. But basically, yeah, I think that in wide areas, that's where it could be a bit of a problem. I think Neto's been quite good this season. Estevão, like you mentioned, if we let Garnacho score, that's when I'll be fuming.
Oh,
if we let that bum score, I'll be so annoyed.
Imagine he scores a bicycle kick, or like he did against Everton a year or two
We
ago.
better not be letting Garnacho score. But basically, so Ten, you think we're gonna win, even with the recent history we have against Chelsea?
Yeah, and then against Copenhagen later, you'll see.
I think it's going to be a draw. That's my prediction. I reckon it will be 1-1. I think that I don't think we're going to concede 4 goals to them like we have in the last 2 seasons. But
if that,
I think both teams have injuries. Our record against the reality is, if I'm honest, I can't remember the last time I was ever confident playing Chelsea. Like, I'm literally never. When was the last time I even predicted a win against Chelsea? Like, I'm never confident against Chelsea ever. So I'm playing it safe. I'm going for 1-1. If I'm honest.
and we'll see how it goes. I guess we can move on to another.
But hopefully
game.
we win, and I think we have to win this game because it's an important game. Frank, it's our first, derby, real derby of the season. Obviously with West Ham.
No, West Ham counts.
But yeah, no, obviously more so Chelsea than West Ham. But yeah, it's our first home game. Massive, game at home in the league so far this season. So I think there's a lot, and I think it's very important we win. But we'll have to see. Hopefully I'm wrong. Hopefully we win rather than draw. But I'm going 1-1.
I mean, speaking on one of your biggest rivals, West Ham, it's West Ham versus Newcastle on Sunday. And I saw, I believe West Ham have not won a home game at the London Stadium since February.
Oh.
So I know what's going to happen. I remember last season, Charlie said, this was last season.
Oh, yeah. I was going to say this.
St. James's Park, I think actually around this time, or maybe end of November last season. I forgot what your prediction was, but we lost 2-0.
Basically, I predicted you to win. I said you'd win. Basically, we did a thing, and I on one of the shows, I was like, yeah, Newcastle are going to beat West Ham. They're shit.
Yeah.
But then they beat you 2-0.
Yeah.
I jinxed it.
Yeah. Somehow we actually just have a better record at their stadium, actually, than we do at home for some reason, because obviously we beat West Ham the last time, which was actually just before that Carabao Cup final. We beat them 1-0. But obviously, kind of different circumstance. This is it is still a league game, but it's early in the season, and West Ham, have yet to win at home this season. So I don't know if I should be worried, but I do know our record at their stadium is actually pretty decent. I know, way long time ago when we first got promoted back to the Prem, we beat West Ham 3-2 at their stadium. During the first game of the season in COVID, which was the 2020-21 season, we beat them 2-0 at their ground. And then
with Steve Bruce.
And that was Callum Wilson's first game for Newcastle. And
now he's at West Ham.
Now he's at West Ham. I don't know if he'll be fit to start.
He's barely played for them. I mean, they're in trouble. I mean, they're 19th now. They've just lost to Leeds. They've won one game all season away from Forest against the manager that they currently employ.
Yeah, and obviously, I think we actually do have a pretty decent record against Nuno. Actually, if you want to think of that,
Nuno beat Newcastle at Spurs. Just saying.
Was it? Wait.
The first game since the takeover.
Oh, yeah, the 3-2. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you should bring him back so that you guys can beat us. St. James's. But, yeah, I think overall, this game against West Ham, as I said, I think we have a pretty decent record. Obviously, one of the best games I've seen, though it was very late for me, I remember, was the 5-1 win at their ground when we eventually made Champions League football. And that was just... that was like the sort of warm up to the 6-1 later on that month of April. But do I think it'll be a 5-1? I would hope so. But at the same time, for me, I think the results are what matters right now for us. We don't need to be a high-scoring team or whatever at the moment. I think we just need to turn up and actually, compete.
I think it's another must-win for you guys because obviously you're still 12th. I think you need to be getting up the table soon. So it's another important game. It's another winnable game that it gives you the chance to finally get towards where you should be in the table.
Yeah, and at the moment, in terms of how I feel who could be in the team, I saw Lewis Hall might potentially be available. I'm not quite sure. Johan Wissa won't be available until the end of November. So Wissa is not even in the DR Congo squad for the Africa playoffs for the World Cup. So that's kind of a big miss for them and somewhat for us. But obviously having Nick Voldemade, doing
Great signing. Really, honestly, he's been fantastic.
Yeah.
Voltemada.
I mean, he managed to score against both Spurs and Arsenal. Only thing is that different result. Between
Sadly.
the two games. Or
Voltemada should, I'll be honest, right? Again, I look at West Ham, the way they're defending, especially from set pieces, Voltemada should be getting a hat-trick in this game. If you look at the way West Ham play and the type of player Voltemada is, that's the type that they will struggle against. So I think he could have a field day in this game, if I'm honest.
And obviously we've already beaten, I think the bottom three right now is Forest, West Ham, Wolves. Obviously Charlie doesn't have a good history with Wolves, but we've beaten the two of the three teams in the relegation zone right now. So we could add West Ham on that list, hopefully. But yeah, I think the team, Livermento, I think also not really available yet, but it does seem like we're kind of getting some players back, but I think this is still a bit too quick for someone like a Lewis Hall, obviously Wilson, Livermento. But if you could just stay fit with the team, then it'll be good. But in terms of how I see it, who should be starting? Because I think that would be.
Well, you'll see. I think Bruno will come back in. I think
yeah.
Gordon will come back in as well. You'd think. See, Angus, you love sucking off other clubs. That's such an Arsenal and Chelsea thing. Sucking off each other.
Oh God. I mean, yeah, true. But hey, at least we're in a good spot, and we're above Spurs in the Champions League, and we could extend it when you see our predictions later.
Oh no.
But because obviously we're playing Athletic Club on the Wednesday, and we play who do you call this? West Ham on Sunday. So it's like what, just a little over 3 days turnaround. Maybe Tonali doesn't start because I don't know how much recovery he's had from illness. I think he was like 80% in that the game against Spurs. So I'm not sure if he'll start. So maybe it could be Joelinton, Bruno, and Miley, like it was against Fulham at the weekend potentially, or maybe have Joelinton still be on the bench and have Ramsey, Miley, and Bruno. And then in the Champions League against Athletic, you could play the big three, you could say, in midfield. So I am kind of expecting a sort of midfield shake-up again. And then in defense, I probably expect Botman to come back. But Fabian Schär scored. So maybe you play Fabian Schär against West Ham and then maybe play Botman against Athletic. So, it's finally nice to say, oh, maybe we could play this guy. No, this guy, and be like,
it's what they call a good headache. It's a good headache,
or the best of both worlds. So
yeah,
I mean, I'm not really having a good headache or something after all the drinking from or just before Halloween. But at least right now, the month of October for Newcastle, even though the game will be played in November, has not been as spooky as it is. So hopefully we can start November just like we did. Starting October, we beat USG 4-0. I'm not saying 4-0. It would be fun if we do against West Ham, but I'll probably say I'll go 3. Okay, maybe I have to be a bit confident at least once. 1-0.
One only. Nah, I'll be honest.
I'll go. I was about to say 3-0. That's what I was about to say. So
I'll be honest.
I'll
be honest. I don't want to jinx you guys again because I know I jinxed you against West Ham before. But I agree, Baron. I totally agree about the Champions League.
St. James's.
But for West Ham, Newcastle, listen, West Ham are terrible. They're utterly, utterly terrible. So this is a very winnable game for Newcastle. To start to find some consistency this season. And I reckon they'll win. I reckon they'll look physically. They should really get the better of West Ham. I reckon. I'm gonna go for a 3-0, just like 10, 3-0. Newcastle.
Okay. And then watch it be 2-0 West Ham by the end of.
Listen, if you guys lose, blame me. Because
I mean, I was the one that said 3-0 first, but yeah, I guess that wraps up at least the Premier League, Carabao Cup stuff. Now it's time for the glorious night of the Champions League, at least for Newcastle. I don't know about Spurs. It's a bit.
we've been very lucky so far. In the
The
Champions
luckiest
League.
team. We might as well
Very
start
lucky.
the luck that Tottenham have, and they host for the first time since game 1, Copenhagen. How you feel?
Well, look, it's our first home. Yes, our first home game for a while in the Champions League. We've had 2 away games, 2 terrible performances where we got 2 draws. I don't know how we drew both those games, but we're back at home. Obviously, we did win the 1 home game we had this season
One of the
against
most boring.
Villarreal. Yeah, awful game, but luckily we did win it. But Copenhagen, look, they're not doing well. They lost to Karabakh. I know Karabakh are doing okay, but Copenhagen are not a team that are doing well in the Champions League this year. This is one of those
not doing well in the Danish league.
Not doing well in Denmark either. So
Midtjylland.
yeah, so I think this is a game where it's very simple. Copenhagen, look there. I'm sure they got some talented players. I'll be honest, I'm not.
Mokoko.
Yeah, I'm not a Mukoko. That's one
Damn,
formerly in Dortmund.
They're
Yeah, they're not doing well at all in Denmark. But Copenhagen, I'm sure they've got some talented players. But listen, this is one of those where, if I'm going to put it bluntly, anything less than 3 points is nowhere near good enough. Anything less than 3 points, and we can, we're in massive trouble, I would say, in terms of the league phase and the table and everything. So we have to, 3 from 3 in the group stage, but no European trophies. So
wait until it's Bayern. But the Arsenal play Slavia, so 5-0 Arsenal.
Well, we're playing them. We're playing Slavia as well. So I'm saying that those are the games. Slavia. I agree. Yeah, it's true. I mean, we're struggling right now. Hopefully, we don't end in the playoffs, but I reckon that's where it's headed right now. And if we don't beat Copenhagen, I think then I'll say we're definitely not going to be in the top 8. So, listen, and it's a winnable game. It's a kind fixture for us at home, Copenhagen. Anything less than 3 points is not good enough. It's as simple as that. We have to, especially with the last 2 Champions League games, we have to get 3 points. We've got some very tough games left in the Champions League still. PSG, which is our next game after Copenhagen. PSG.
Slavia.
But then, obviously Slavia, that's another winnable one. But then you look at it, Dortmund at home, Frankfurt away. That is a very, difficult few games. So we have to beat Copenhagen. It's as simple as that. Listen, Angus, you never know.
Arsenal are like the number 1 favorite.
Opta, because Opta have no real stats. It's all rubbish. But listen, Angus, you've never won anything in Europe. So hold it. Listen, talk to me about the Premier League. I'm not saying a word. Talk to me about the FA Cup. I'm not saying a word. But in Europe, forget it, man. But Copenhagen, listen, we're going to struggle because they're going to sit back. I know what they're going to do. They're going to come to Tottenham and sit back and try and stink it out and everything. But I think in the end, we'll do it. I'll go. Probably going to be a couple of late goals. I agree. Yeah, Baron. In my head, I'm saying we're going to lose the PSG game. So I'm thinking that we have to win these winnable games. And yeah, we can only afford to drop points in one more game. Exactly. That's what I calculated as well when the draw came out. So Copenhagen, will struggle at times to break them down. But I do think we win it in the end. I'm going to go for a 2-0. 2-0 Spurs. I think in the end we'll have enough against them, if I'm honest.
Yeah. Now it's time for how I feel about this. Spurs, Copenhagen. The only thing is that watching a Champions League game of Spurs as a neutral has got to be one of the most boring things to do.
Monaco, well, especially Monaco and Villarreal. They're
so boring. Yeah. Bodo was okay, but still so boring to watch Spurs play in the Champions League this season. Maybe that changes against Copenhagen. Now you kind of.
I don't think it will. I don't think it will change that much, but
maybe result-wise.
I think we'll get the result. I do. I think we will.
But how I feel about this game, obviously, this will be after the the Chelsea game. So we'll see what sort of mindset most of the Spurs players are in, and obviously for Copenhagen, it's kind of like the last sort of like potential saving themselves in the Champions League because they only have 1 point, I believe.
Exactly. Yeah.
So obviously, if they were to win, they go at least 1 point behind Spurs in the chase for the top 24. So this is kind of like the last hurrah in a way for Copenhagen because they still have to play like
Yeah, for them, look, if they're going to stay in the competition, they have to win this game.
yeah,
Really.
and it's a realistic opportunity.
Oh man.
But how I feel about it, obviously they're not doing well in the Danish Super League. Obviously, the main guy that everyone knows is Mokoko, who used to play for Dortmund, and they actually did okay against Dortmund 4-2 in the last
4-2, yeah.
game at home for them. So I
But
think.
then actually, Mokoko, what was that thing about his age? Apparently,
Yeah,
there was this weird thing going on with Mokoko.
yeah.
Or
So maybe he'll show his age and experience in this game against Spurs, and then we'll find out. But I think at the moment, oh god,
Well, it is Halloween, Frankenstein. It is Halloween.
yeah, and I'm obviously there's a bit of Danish connection. Oh, Danish friends.
Oh, Danish friends.
Thomas Frank.
Football friends.
Thomas Frank against a Danish team. So I don't really know if he has any connection with FC Copenhagen, but yeah, I feel like
but Angus, PSG have Luis Enrique, and they've got Kvaratskhelia. They got Dembele, who's just won the Ballon d'Or.
Oh,
I know your squad's good, but it's a big difference, man.
Yeah, but in terms of my prediction for this game, I think I'll probably go with. I don't know. I feel like they're going to stink it out and frustrate Spurs, and this is for some reason. I'll say this, if Thomas Frank starts with Richie, you are cooked.
We're cooked. Forget it's not even just against Copenhagen. It's any game that we start with Richie and Johnson. We're cooked. If Kudus doesn't start, we're cooked in the forward line unless we score from corners. That's the only way.
Yeah, maybe that might be the way to.
That's probably how we're going to score in this Copenhagen game. We'll probably make the breakthrough for a set piece, I imagine,
or an own goal.
Yeah, we like own goals. So
the funny thing is that Tottenham's top goal scorer in the Champions League is own goal too.
Own goal. It's embarrassing, man. We haven't scored from open play in the Champions League this season,
and that's why I feel like Copenhagen kind of know. Okay, we can kind of frustrate Spurs. At their stadium, they've seen Bournemouth, they've seen Aston Villa. Yeah, maybe not be as adventurous as those teams, but able to get results in those sort of games. And I feel like in terms of what do you call this? In terms of my prediction, Charlie said 2-0, I believe. I'm going for 1-1, with Copenhagen actually being the first ones to score first. Maybe both goals are set pieces, which means they don't count, so it ends 0-0. No, 1-1. I'll go.
You think? Yeah. I to be fair, look, I can understand why you say that because of our just inability to break down a team that doesn't leave space. So
yeah,
I kind of fear it, but I just think with Copenhagen, I just don't think they've got the quality to kind of withstand, for 90 minutes, and we'll probably just find the way, I reckon.
Yeah, but obviously this is probably this game plus Slavia Prague. Those are like the two must win.
See, it's so funny.
I'm not going that far yet. Maybe against PSG or one of the other games. But in terms of how I feel, I said 1-1, and that's probably not going for. But I'll say I wouldn't be surprised if Spurs obviously win. But I'll go 1-1.
Yeah, look, no, I'll be honest, right? I won't even laugh. I can understand that prediction. I'll be honest. I think we'll win personally, but I can see why you'd say we might draw this game, if I'm honest.
Yeah, so I'll go 1-1. And I guess now it's time to talk about a team that actually has 2 wins in the Champions League. At least 2 wins. That's Newcastle United. Newcastle United versus Athletic Club in the Champions League. This will be on Wednesday. The Spurs game is on Tuesday. But my thoughts on this game, obviously, this is actually after the Basque Derby, Athletic against Sociedad, which will be played in Sociedad in La Sebastian. No, San Sebastian. I don't know why I said La. Okay, but Newcastle Athletic. We do have a pretty good friendship in terms of like the two fan bases. Historically, we've only met them in Champions League or any European competition. The UEFA Cup of '94, which we beat them 3-2 at our ground, but we lost to them 1-0, and we got knocked out on away goals in 1994, I believe. So
And is that the only time you've faced
yeah,
them?
in terms of competitive games, I think the last time we played them for a friendly was 2022 or 2023, or one of those two. The Seller Cup, which I know we beat them because we won it. Seller Cup, Carabao Cup. That's what we're known for.
Seller Cup.
But in terms of how I feel about this game, obviously I'll see what happens with the West Ham game and the Sociedad game for Athletic. But at the moment, this is probably the game I'm also kind of confident in. Oh, and big up to Ahmed.
Oh, big up to Zir. Big up to Zir for the raid every single time. Subscribe to his channel if you haven't already, guys.
And maybe at some point, Bayern Arsenal, one of them's going to cry, or unless it's a draw. But yeah, obviously my thoughts on for us, I'm kind of confident, I would say. If you were to ask me which one I'm confident in, West Ham or Athletic, I'd say Athletic. I would be confident in getting the result, mainly because I don't think Athletic haven't been that good this year, just like West Ham.
Yeah, they're not. Athletic aren't as good as they were last year. This year.
And obviously, the time that they actually played an English team, they lost to Arsenal, but they also lost to Manchester United 7-1 on aggregate.
And we know what happened in the final of that competition.
Yeah. But obviously this game's at home at St. James's Park, which would be our third Champions League game at home. So, and that means our next two games after this is both away. But if we were to win this game, that would put us on 9 points. At the moment, on course to be a top 8 finisher, which would be a big help for us because then we don't have to play the extra games, but we don't get the extra money, or perhaps because TV money, So maybe there's some silver lining, being in the playoff. You get more TV money because you play more games. But how I feel about this, I think we will probably attack Athletic Club. I have a feeling this might be similar to the Spurs game that we played the 2-0. So in terms of a prediction, I will go for 2. I'll go 2-0. The only thing is I don't trust Athletic offensively.
They're not at it this season, really.
Yeah, I know they beat Carabao.
From what I've seen of them, they're struggling. They probably got a bit lucky against Carabao in the end. I mean,
they conceded in the first 1 minute. Wasn't
that like the quickest goal in Champions League history or something? I read
something crazy like that. But even then, Athletic just weren't really.
They're not. Yeah, they're not that.
They're not clinical, and especially in that.
And I reckon, and also they struggle against English teams. Their record against English teams is poor. And I reckon
Dr. Newcastle now.
Dr. Newcastle.
But this one I'm confident.
Yeah, I reckon you win. I reckon you win 2-0 as well. I think it will be kind of like the Benfica game. I think you'll have another win in the Champions League that will take you up to 9 points, I believe. So on a good run in Europe at the moment.
More than Spurs.
More than Spurs. Listen, like I said, we have to beat Copenhagen on Tuesday, but we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I reckon Newcastle win. I'll go for 2-0 as well. But it's interesting. Your next two games, West Ham and Athletic Club, are both, Dr. Newcastle situations could happen.
Oh, yeah. In terms of those sort of things.
Yeah.
And as for Spurs, it's obviously the Chelsea and Copenhagen bit. Yeah. But yeah, I guess that kind of wraps up the show. We had almost 7 games or whatever to talk about. plus our Carabao Cup game. But yeah, it's been a good show. And looking forward to the next week or so. Obviously, Halloween and all that. So, how you feel, Charlie?
Look, happy Halloween, everyone watching.
Yeah.
This horrifying background I see. But yeah, look, a good show. Happy to be on again. Obviously, sadly, I got cooked because although not as badly cooked as I thought, but
If you were like the last show, like or when we did,
if I was, yeah, I'm just glad that I wasn't.
Like 3-0 new Spurs 3-0 Newcastle.
Then I would get cooked.
Yeah,
But
then that would be actual cooking.
It was a good show. Happy to be back on, of course. So yeah, we'll see what happens in the upcoming games. Champions League, Premier League for both teams. Unfortunately, we are out of the Carabao Cup, which I'm gutted about because it was one of our realistic potentials of winning a trophy again this season. But at the same time, luckily, we're no longer on a drought. So it's to be fair though, having a 5-month trophy drought is a bit, it's a bit boring, I would say. But it is. But it is what it is. But yeah, good show again. Sadly, the first meeting between Spurs and Newcastle ended in a win for 10. So hopefully in December it'll be my turn, but we'll see. So yeah,
so probably not.
Oh no! By the way, I hate St James's. I don't want to play at this ground again because we get cooked every time we play at St James's. It's a horror show. We get cooked.
I think our record against Spurs, I always notice we always score in the first half against Spurs. Like every time, I remember.
Apart from when Jose won in during lockdown.
I think that was probably the last time.
Yeah, probably. I think so. Yeah.
Because then, even the Nuno win, we scored like 2 minutes.
Scored in the first minute, yeah, in that game.
Yeah. But yeah, looking forward to both games. Looking forward to see, whether our prediction comes true for both of our teams and to see the Champions League night or whatever. I'll probably not do a watch long for Athletic Club probably because I want to watch the game somewhere at the board because, it'll probably show a Spanish club, playing. So why not? Because the only other Spanish club playing at the same time with Athletic Newcastle is Barcelona. So maybe against Club Brugge as well, but yeah, good show. And yeah, looking forward to seeing if either of us will get cooked next time, even though we predicted almost the same.
To be fair, I had a terrible couple of days because Palermo lost 3-0. Terrible. And then Spurs lost 2-0.
Oh, and Deportivo last night beat Samano in the Cup 5-1. So it's been a good few days for me, but we'll see.
A few bad days for me.
Yeah, and we'll see on the 125th year anniversary of Palermo. And we'll talk about it on Monday on La Piña Rosa on Monday.
Yeah. And then this show next week will be back to normal time at 11 a.m. on Thursday.
So. No travel or anything. But yeah, we'll see you guys in the next one.
Subscribe to both channels if you haven't already. Being streamed on both. So if you haven't already, like both streams, subscribe as well. Big up to everyone in the chat. Big up to, Angus, Zir coming in with the raid, Baran, FC25 earlier. Big up to all of you guys every single time.
Yeah. And we'll see you guys the next time when Spurs finally win a game. At least